Okay, so Unit D, I had to think there what unit we were on. Unit D in Photoshop is all about type. So we're going to use our type tool. We're going to learn about gradients. We're going to work with our character panel. All really good things. So to start off with, what we want to do is go and grab our D1 file down from Google Classroom. It's actually just a blank document. We could really make it ourselves, but it was pre-made for us, so we might as well work a little smarter, not harder. So once this opens, it should fit your screen. It kind of is long and skinny like a hot dog. And what I want you to do is make sure that you have your character panel open over here on your right-hand side of your screen. If your character panel isn't there, remember, just go to Window and then go down to Character, and that'll open that up. It's just nice to have this ready and available for when we're working with different types of type. So let's talk about our type tool. Our type tool is the big T over on the left-hand side on our tool panel. So you can just go ahead and click on that. And notice that your options bar does change. If you want, you can set your type characteristics before you even type anything. Typically, what I do is I usually set my type first, and then I go back and change things. It's completely up to you what you want to do. So all you have to do is come down here onto your canvas and click one time, and you're going to see a couple of things. You're going to see that you get a blinking cursor where you'll start typing. Also, notice how this layer is different than other layers we've worked with before. It has this T here that indicates that it is a type layer, and type actually works differently than other layers, so we'll talk about that here in a second. But for now, what I'd like you to do is just type your name, and then you can commit your text, and then I'm just going to grab my move tool and move it over here into the center of my document. Now your text might look different than mine, depending upon what type was defaulted, and that's fine. So once you click off of it, a couple of things. You still have that type layer with the T where the thumbnail typically is, and then it will be named whatever the first few words are that will fit on the layer name. So my name technically fits there, and that's fine. Now, if you want to edit type again, you just need to click on your type tool to get your cursor back, and you'll see that if you're not near your name and you click, what's going to happen is you're actually going to create another type layer. Now, I don't actually want to do that, so I'm going to click to cancel that current edit, and I'm going to get nice and close to my M, and do you see how your mouse changes? So what that allows us to do is to be able to select our name, and then we can go ahead and talk about changing some different things. So the first up on your options bar, I'd like you to go, the first drop-down menu is for your font. Now we have a ton of different fonts. You can test them out. Just scroll through and pick one, whatever you happen to like. Font options are plentiful. We have lots and lots of different font options. So I'm actually going to try to look for a thicker font. AA Foo. I'll go with AA Foo. AA, the AA fonts are actually the fonts that are associated with our yearbook. There used to be the case where we had to use AA fonts, and now we don't. But I would say most of the time the AA fonts are going to be the cooler ones. They're going to look a little better. And so I like to choose those ones. The box that is next to it, if you see, mine right now is actually grayed out. So the box next to the font is actually the font style. So this is where if your font supports it, you could have normal style, bold, italic, different things like that. So AA Foo actually doesn't support any styles. You'll see it just says normal. Just for the sake of showing you, maybe what I'll do is I'll type in Times New Roman. So Times New Roman is a pretty standard font. And you'll see now that my font style is not grayed out, so I could actually change it. Times New Roman supports regular, italic, bold, and then also bold italic. So it absolutely depends on the font that you choose because, like I said, I like the look of AA Fu, so I'm going to go back to that. AA Fu doesn't actually support any of the typical font styles, and that's fine. I'm fine with that. No big deal. So just know that if that happens to be grayed out, that's why. Then let's talk about font size. You can make your font size however big you want to. It goes up to 72, and so clearly that's too big for our document. You could also, if you needed it to be bigger than 72, you could simply type in there what size that you want. But I want this to fit on my document, so I'm going to bring this down to, so 30 looks like it'll fit. What about 35? Whoops. What about 35? 35 will work. Okay, so that's font size. The next drop-down menu is for the anti-aliased edging. Now, I typically don't ever adjust those. If you remember in Unit B, we talked about anti-aliased, and all that means is what the edge of your type looks like, whether it's smooth or whether it has a really sharp edge. Typically with fonts, you want them to be sharp. You don't want them to really blend into the background. Then you can also, if you want to, you can align, left align, center, and right. And then this here is our text color. So right now it's defaulted to black. I'm going to leave it as black, but if you wanted to, I'm just going to show you, you just drag to whatever color you want, and it changes the text. But like I said, I'm going to cancel that, and it's going to go back to black. Then once you're happy with the way things look, all you need to do is confirm your edits with the check mark, and there you have